It's not my thing, I tell him. Isn't it what I heard, mate? He winked. Ah, that was a while back now, I tell him. Sharon looked at Larry. Well, no get into a club if we're all skagged up, Larry. Staring it was is a new nightclubbing. It says so in the face, he grinned. Muriel attempted to take Phil's shirt off, but he brushed her away, the movement causing him more pain than her. Muriel persisted. You've lost a lot of blood there. We'd better get you to the hospital. I'll get an ambulance. No, Phil wheezed. No hospitals, no ambulance. He was sweating profusely, especially from his head. It gathered into beads which dotted his face. Larry nodded in acquiescence. This was a kind of scene where all officialdom, even the most benign of the emergency services, was instinctively distrusted. No police, no ambulance, even though he might be bleeding to death. There seemed to be a bit more blood in the sheeting now. I could see Fat Phil in a house that was burning down and him shouting, "No fire brigade!" But you've got to, Muriel said, and then she started shrieking like she was having a panic attack, and Sharon went to calm her. Didn't get hysterical or it might rub off on Phil. Sharon turned to Phil, who was still looking ahead, the sheet crushed to his gut. Sorry, Phil, but you ken what I mean. It's like if she makes it sound worse, all you'll do is worry and your blood pressure will get high and you'll bleed faster. Larry nodded approvingly. That's right. Try to see some fucking sense, Muriel. You'll just make it worse, he snorts. He had his works and he ushered us into the other room. These cunts nip my fucking heat. There's some people you just can't fucking help, he says, like a social worker with a heavy caseload who's come to the end of his tether. I decided that I wanted a shot when he asked me again. It wasn't that I said yes, it's just that I couldn't say no and mean it. My body seemed to go cold and my thoughts all disconnected and abstract. It was a bit daft as I'd been up all night on the piss with Terry and I wasn't in the best condition for this. As Larry produced the works and started cooking, I was going to say, I'll just chase mine, but it sounded so daft and pointless. So there I was, tapping up a vein. Larry spiked us. As soon as the gears surged through my system, it completely overwhelmed me and I lost control and passed out. I thought that I'd been fucked for just a few minutes, but Muriel was shaking and slapping me and she was obviously relieved when I was coming to. I smelled, then I saw the sick on my chest. Larry was sitting watching a Jackie Chan video. Surrounded by fucking lightweights, he chuckled without humour. Tell us you could handle the bruin and all. I tried to speak, to say it had been a long time, but I felt the gagging cough of acrid puke in my throat and nodded to Muriel, who had a glass of water by her side. I sipped, almost choking, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was a slow, smooth, hot caress in my throat and lungs because the gear was doing its job. Sharon's sitting on the couch, running her fingers through my hair, then massaging my neck like I'm eat up. You're a bad boy, Andrew Galloway. You had us worried there for a bit, didn't he, Larry? Aye, Larry grunts distractedly, not looking from the box. I gave a wee cackle, just at the prospect of Larry worrying about anybody but himself. I must have lain there for over an hour, zoning in and out of consciousness, with Sharon's fingers working my neck and shoulders, and Larry's voice zooming in and out of audio range like a signal coming through and breaking up. This gear's the best. You can make a few bob shifting it. Every cunt's getting feared with AIDS, but it's no bother if you're careful. Get the smack and speed mixed up, no the bass mine, fuck that. Phil thought he was wide, started naming names. I hate it when cunts start fucking dropping names expecting you to fall into line, talking about the Doyles, that Katrina. I tell him how I ken to Franco and Lexo, so didn't give me your fucking Doyles. Then he starts all this shit about money, kens fuck all, now wrong with him. Thinks that Muriel's going to feel all sorry for him and the fat cunt's going to get into her fucking knickers. Sharon gets up and comes back in a change of clothes, parading in front of me like a catwalk model. She's got on a tight pair of white slacks and a black and white striped top. I managed to give her the thumbs up. She goes to the kitchen as Larry drones on about his recent minor atrocities in a weirdly soothing and comforting way. Her that was in Deacon's, thinks she can cock tease all she wants. No, with this boy here she can't. Slipped a couple of jellies to wash down with her body when she was out like a fucking light. Ha ha ha! Still got the Polaroids. They're straight down the back of the bus shelter at the shops if that slag steps out of line again. And it doesn't matter anymore. That's the beauty of it. Now it fucking matters. The most minging cunt in the world, I says to her, do you never wash your fucking fanny? See you mate, Gully, that Juice Terry, tell me he's no as wide as fuck. Muriel came in screaming and Phil lumbered through behind her. Her face was white with shock and he was staggering, blood now gushing into the sheet. I'm driving him to the hospital, she said. Larry, to my shock, got up. Let's go, we stick together. He adds in song, you know we made a vow to love one another forever. I sort of protested, but Larry pulled us to my feet. I want to hear what story these cunts tell the hospital. Make sure there's no fucking grassing up going on. We got into the car, which was parked in Montgomery Street, with Sharon driving and Phil in the front passenger seat and the rest of us in the back. Larry was fucked. He took another hit in the house and he was floating away. Sign out, mind, he said, passing out. Try to keep to the back streets as much as you can, Sharon, Muriel said, clutching a Bartholomew's Edinburgh City plan. We're not wanting to stop with these two skagged up. As Sharon started up the car, Phil began to show his panic for the first time. That cunt Wiley! He screamed. I can't believe he did that! I was that way, where I didn't ken whether or no I thought or said the words. Believe it. I can't! Phil spluttered on his own words. He arched round in the seat and slammed a chunky fist into Larry's face. Larry woke up saying, what's all this about? In a nasal plead. This is pure fucking rage, Sharon said. Try to stay still, Phil, Muriel implored. We'll be up there in a bit. And mind, you can't grass Larry up. I've never grassed up any cunt in my life, Phil squeaked. But that cunt. Phil turned in the seat and tried to have another go at Larry, who just said, come on now, and laughed. But Phil was coming out of the shock of the stabbing. He was fucking livid at Larry. He got round again and barred him in the face. Larry twisted like a rag doll, his head snapping back under the impact of the blow. He was like one of these nodding dogs in the back of the motor cars. That's right, Phil. That's enough, Muriel said at the same time. I started to laugh. Larry's eye was swelling up, looking like a rotten piece of fruit. Righto, cunt! Phil shrieked. And Sharon went, ooh! As more blood, real blood, started coming out onto his lap. As we pulled into the accident emergency, Phil collapsed across Sharon. She stopped the car about 50 yards short of the forecourt. Muriel couldn't pull him up, so she just got out and ran across the tarmac. Larry, dazed, fell across my lap. Fucking great shit, this galley. Has to be said, he muttered, his wasted face looking up at me. The ambulance boys were straight out and they had Phil from the motor and they were taking him away. They were struggling like fuck to get him from the ground onto the trolley, even with it folded down. I shouted on Muriel and she came away, brushing aside this paramedic who was gesturing towards the desk. She got in the front beside Sharon, who did a nifty bit of reversing, and we drove off. Where are we going? She asked. The beach, I suggested, Portobello. I want to go clubbing, Sharon goes. That suits me, I said, remembering that I wanted to serve up at Carol Ewert's club, serve up these ecstasies, get myself sorted out with some cash for Munich. Well, no be getting into any club tonight, Muriel scoffed. Aye, Fluid, it's my mate's club, Fluid, we'll get in, I slur. Larry's head still in my lap. He looked up at us and raises a clenched fist in salute. Clubland! He gasps loudly. Thanks very much for listening, folks.